Luke, talk about your pathway from being an amateur dart player to the world #1 and world champion.
Yeah, I mean, my story wasn't never straightforward. First of all, I started off on the development tour when I was thinking about 2021. And in my first year it went pretty steady, nothing exciting, but then the next year I played on it, it was where everything changed. I changed my darts, I used a set of windmill Simon Whitlocks, and that was what changed my game. And that's when I realised that you needed a certain setup to suit your throw. You know, I was just using anything that I felt good, but these sort of really suited me, and then obviously I went on to win that, and I was playing on the Challenge Tour that year. I was playing against, ex-professionals, and it was giving me confidence because I was beating these, and I was beating, the likes of Dimitri that was already on the tour. So, then I went into my first year as a pro, and I kept losing 6-5, and it was never going my way. You see a lot of youngsters nowadays, they go straight into the tour, and it's, they're flying starters. But for me, it took a long time to get used to the whole regime of being a pro. But in my first year, obviously made the quarterfinals of the World Championships, and that sort of helped my confidence. And obviously with the anxiety and panic that come in, and it took me a little bit of a back step. But I managed to overcome that, and then that UK Open final was the key for me in 2021. That allowed me to realise that I could really make it in the game, and I went on after next year, went and won them European tours, and that was flying me up in the worlds, and then I was getting to semi-finals of majors, and then finally last year obviously winning my first major, which took me to 5th in the world, I think it was, and then I won another 2 after that, the Grand Slam and the Players, which took me to I think world #4 or #3, and obviously winning the World Championships, which was my dream that it's always ever been. So to take myself from the bottom to the top, it is quite an achievement for myself, and it's something that I never thought I'd do. Being world #1 is obviously fantastic, but being world champion is something that stays with you forever. So that was more of a joy for me. But having both together, it's something really that really whets the appetite, and you don't ever want to lose it.
You touched on there, you're the best example. You followed the process of development tour, challenge tour, pro tour, but the JDC is about now. How important do you think that is going forward in the sport?
Yeah, well, I often wonder, if that would have been about when I was younger, I could have been at this level 5 years ago. And I think that's what's great for the younger generation now. They've got so much more opportunity than the likes of me and Dimitri and all these people had when they were younger. There's opportunity for you to be about 11, 12 years old playing in these tournaments, professional tournaments, well-run tournaments that can develop your game at such an early age. We see the likes of Luke Littler now, he's 17, but he kind of looks like he's been playing professional darts for like 10 years, so it's quite crazy, and I feel like the JDC gives the players that opportunity to do that. So yeah, I think if it was around in my day, it would have been a lot more enjoyment for myself, and I'd have been able to bit more prepped and maybe at this level at an earlier age, but there's so many opportunities out there nowadays, not just in the JDC, but in the development tour, the Challenge Tour, to set yourself up to get on the Pro Tour.
Yeah, Luke, you've talked about your pathway, you've reached the top now. What have you got to do to stay at the top now? How key is practicing?
It used to be quite a thing that I was really obsessed with doing. I used to want to practice a lot. As I'm away so much now, I don't get that chance to practice as much as I want to, but it's important to stay dedicated. I feel like if you make it to the top, we've seen before, people don't, they rest on them laurels, and they come crashing down. You have to stay more dedicated than ever. When you're at the top, you don't ever want to look down. You don't ever want to be back down there. So of course, if you want to stay there, you have to work incredibly hard to do it.
Luke, as an amateur dart player looking on, how do you get yourself onto the professional circuit?
Yeah, I mean, there's one specific way that you do it, and that's go to Q School. It's quite brutal. It's hard to get through. To become a professional in any sport, it's never an easy objective to do. But you get yourself to Q School, and you try your luck there. There's been many players over the last 5-6 years that have probably not been a favourite to win a tour card, but have managed to do it. And if you don't, unfortunately, you can go back to the Challenge Tour, which is always a great a place for people to learn their craft. I think that's a really important aspect for the PDC to help these players grow if they're not ready for the Pro Tour circuit yet. But you don't have to, it don't have to be from the UK. You can be from anywhere in the world nowadays. The World Series is absolutely fantastic. We go everywhere. America, Australia. You've got so much talent around now, and Asia, and there's all these secondary tours that the PDC allow available for all these different countries that you can qualify yourself for the World Championships in, and now we've seen this new introduction for the Masters, which looks fantastic. There's so many opportunities now for all these different countries to get involved, and if it goes well for you, they might think twice about coming to Q School and actually trying themselves to be a pro as well.
You mentioned Q School. The UK Open's like a standout event, isn't it? Players can go to some qualifiers. Just describe that pathway and how it's affected players in the past.
Yeah, I mean, you've got the great example of Rob Cross, haven't we, with that? He became a qualifier for one of the UK Opens from the Riley's aspect, which is anybody can play in. I think it's a great opportunity for you to get yourself in the major, even if you don't even think you ever got the chance to be pro. But if you win one of them, you can play in this pro event, which is amazing. And like I said, you see the thing that happened with Rob Cross. He ended up qualifying. did really well, lost to Michael van Gerwen, put in a great performance and thought, you know, I feel pretty good. I feel like I can challenge the top guys. Went to the Challenge Tour, you know, he won that with ease, played unbelievable, and then the next year he was world champion. So I feel like that was a great aspect for players to sort of take a bit of inspiration from. I think a lot of players did take inspiration from the fact of, you know, he was that player that come through in just 1 year and was able to be world champion. I think the younger generation probably did look at that, especially someone like me, and thought, he's able to go from nothing to world champion in 1 year. What's to say I can't do that, you know? So yeah, I think if you get yourself along to a Riley's qualifier for the UK Open, and you just never know where it can take you.